Hello everyone, welcome back to another video from Top 100 Uni. We took some break, but here we are back again, about to continue with the rest of the admissions videos. And now that the deadlines are approaching, we will need to start uploading videos more quicker and make sure that everybody's getting ready for their admission cycles. But yeah, welcome back to another video. Previously, we have done personal statement, extracurricular, academics, and other things. And last time we talked about the personal statement video. We did part 1. We will do part 2 very soon. But before we go, one thing that I wanted to talk about today and make today's lesson about is the recommendation letters. Now, I have realized that this is one of the biggest part of the application that a lot of Uzbek students don't know a lot about. So today, we're going to be talking about the recommendation letters. So let's get started. First of all, you might be asking, okay, why do I need a recommendation letter to apply to American universities? Because applying from Uzbekistan, you don't really need a recommendation letter when you're applying to universities, when you're getting a job. Just the idea of recommendation letter isn't as popularized in Uzbekistan as it is in America. So a lot of people usually don't know what it's about. So recommendation letter basically tells a potential university, an employee, or anywhere that you are applying to, shows your characteristics, how you function basically in your job, and other things. So today we're going to be talking about the role of recommendation letter in admissions. And before we answer this question, I want to ask you a question. What do you think is the job of an admissions officer? Who do they work for? According to a Stanford admissions officer, MC Short, he says that the admissions officers work for professors because why? When you are a student applying to these big top universities, you are applying to become a student, a scholar for these professors. So, an admissions officer wants to take a sneak peek into what you are like as a student. How do teachers view you? And that helps an admissions officer understand the type of student you will be in their boss's class, or an admissions officer boss is the professors working in these universities, right? So you might be asking like, okay, all right, I get it. Admissions officer work with professors, so admissions officer are looking for a way to create a very good classroom with very talented students. And that's exactly where the idea of recommendation letter and these basically the concept and what it does come from. So you need to understand that, and recommendation letter is a way for an admissions officer to see what you are like inside of a classroom. Now, just a disclaimer. I understand a lot of Uzbek students tend to write the recommendation letters themselves and have it signed and submitted by their teachers, because I understand that not all teachers speak in English, nor can they write in English. So a lot of Uzbek students, with the permission of their teachers or professors, write their own recommendation letters and then have it reviewed by their own teachers and then submit it, which I do understand and I have seen in multiple cases. And if that's the case, and that your teacher says, write this rec letter yourself, or your teacher says, explain to me what a recommendation letter is so I can write something for you. So today I will be explaining what you should be writing in your recommendation letters, or basically help your teachers write. So this video is for both teachers of Uzbekistan and the students also, on what to basically have in your recommendation letter. The number one thing is authenticity. Authenticity really matters. Now, what does that mean? It means a lot of students tend to overdo it. They go on and talk about how great they are, how they say, well, he is one of the best students or the best students I've ever had, and just throw in a lot of big words. I do not recommend that unless it truly reflects who you are. First thing, do not exaggerate it. You might be asking, okay, can you give me an example? Yes, I can. A teacher rarely says, this is the best, or this is one of the best students I've had in my 20, 30, 10 years of career I've had. When you say something like that, you should make sure you back that up, because a teacher doesn't lightly make a claim like that, that you are the best that they've ever had. Usually a teacher says, well, this is one of the best, or a teacher says, one of the few exceptional students I've had. But when you put a large burden of proof, you have to really, really defend that. You need to really go into and explain what makes this one student stand out in their 30 years of experience. And usually, as a student, we lack the perspective of a teacher. A teacher goes through maybe hundreds of students every year, and they've gone through probably thousands of students by the time they're writing your recommendation letter. So number one thing you want to do is you want to stay authentic, and you do not want to exaggerate the recommendation letter. Just outline it this way. You just give them an introduction, say, okay, hello, my name is this. I've been a teacher at this school for XYZ years, and I'm writing this letter of recommendation for one of my great students or one of the good students I've had, or basically appropriately mention your role in the classroom or in that teacher's career and wrap it up like that. That's your introduction. And then you want to talk about your academic aspects. Okay, so were you a good student? Did you contribute to the classroom environment? Did you help those around you? Is there any specific anecdote your teacher can recall about you that made you stand out from the other students? Or maybe there was an anecdote that showed compassion in you that the teacher hadn't seen. Now, all of these scenarios should be very specific, but only specific in a sense where the teacher should be able to remember it. Because sometimes I see students writing about their own rec letter and having the teacher sign it, but talking about how, oh, I remember when he learned the XYZ theorem and applied it on this and then did this in the 9th grade. If you are a graduate already, and this happened 3 to 4 years ago, it's very hard for a teacher to pinpoint and really write in detail exactly what you did 3 to 4 years ago, which raises a lot of questions. So what you want to do is the number one thing I recommend to everybody. Be authentic. Be realistic. Do not over-exaggerate it. You are better off having an average recommendation letter, good qualities, than have an exceptional one that raises red flags in the admission officer's mind that every teacher probably never wrote this and this student probably submitted themselves, and you do not want that. What you want to do is write a good enough letter that truly reflects who you are, or a teacher writing truly how you are, and the teacher actually read the letter themselves. That's why in a lot of cases I tell the students, when you are done writing your rec letter, please translate it back to your mother language or your native tongue and show it to the teacher to make sure that it reflects who you are. Or I tell a lot of students, please have your teacher write one in their own native language and merely just help them translate it, because a lot of students believe that it's a positive or an advantage that they're writing their own rec letters, but it's not. It takes away authenticity, it takes away perspective, and it takes away so much from your rec letter. So with a little bit time left, I recommend you guys to actually have your teachers write a recommendation letter and show maybe something about you. Let me give you an example. My teacher talked about how I was slacking off. My senior year, I took AP Calculus BC. The same teacher had me as a teacher for Algebra 2 and Trigonometry. So this teacher said, amazing student I've had. However, beginning of this year, he was a slacker. Because of college applications, he was slacking. His academics weren't where it was supposed to, and he wasn't a good student. But once I pointed out to him, he started being very focused, and he apologized, and he very put a lot of work into it and raised his grade in my class from an 85 to a 94, which I did do in a very short period of time, right? So you might be like, whoa, that's a negative thing. Yeah, it's a negative thing, but a teacher is genuinely reflecting that about me, that I was slacking off, but once the teacher pointed it out, I really worked on myself and brought my grades back up to where it's supposed to be, right? So a teacher knows you best. So I always recommend students to either make sure that you remain as authentic, simple, and average as you can, just with detail and just with a little bit of more, I guess, just personality, rather than going too much off of like greatest, best, and just don't butter yourself up too much. Another thing that I cannot seem to stress enough in a lot of students and teachers is, for the sake of the entire college application and your own future, do not use ChatGPT at all. Some people say, well, I'm just using it and then I'll edit over it. It doesn't matter. It can be basically detected. If you write a recommendation letter with ChatGPT and then edit over it, it can be seen. do not use any AI tools when you are writing a recommendation letter because it will get red flagged. And even if you had the highest SAT, the best of recommendation letter on other things, and there was just one recommendation letter that you just messed up and wrote with ChatGPT, you can and might and will get rejected because it shows that you have an unauthentic application. If I can detect a fake recommendation letter or one that's not genuine is written by ChatGPT, no matter how great the rest of your application is, your entire thing can get you rejected. So I strongly recommend you not to use any ChatGPT. Do not bolster or butter yourself up. Rather, be authentic, be simple, and maybe have a teacher write your recommendation letter for you in your own native language and have it be translated to English. Okay? That's what I recommend. So, just basically this video was to give you a do's and don'ts because ChatGPT and unauthenticity is the biggest problems. I've seen a lot of Uzbek applicants. So what you want to do is be authentic, be simple. It's not going to get you rejected, and make sure you don't use ChatGPT. Okay? With that being said, I will see all of you in the next video. Please subscribe. Follow these videos because the next videos are going to be some about supplemental essays, personal statement, and a lot more. See y'all later. Peace.